Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Fires. This is Sherlock Holmes, The Awakened. Okay. Mr. Barnes is in love with Mrs. Fleming. Well, we knew that. Barnes displays a bouquet of dead flowers to attract the attention of Mrs. Fleming, a florist. He may hope she will come into his shop and give him watering advice, or it could simply be a symbol of his desperation. Barnes anonymously gifted her a cactus, which he ordered from a catalog on his counter. A questionable choice, but for Barnes, a symbol of his eternal love, since the catalog presents these cacti as immortal. Cool. Plainly, this is the same cactus he dropped on the Strand, outside 221B Baker Street. Now, to hear the full story.
I think perhaps I have been chasing shadows.
Do not despair, Mr.
Whoa.
Holmes. Even the best of us make mistakes. We better tell Mr. Barnes what we've learned.
Mr. Barnes, I know what you did, and I know why you did it.
I'm sorry, Mr. Holmes. I can't hear you very well from behind the door.
You ordered a cactus from the plant catalogue and then left it for Mrs. Fleming as a gift. You place flowers in the window to get her attention and wear high heels to appear taller and more desirable. You are her secret admirer.
And, on top of that, my paper was ruined.
I couldn't read this morning's edition of The Strand because it was covered in soil and spines. I know you dropped a cactus on it and then fled.
Barnes, it's Dr. Watson. Rest assured, we are not interested in disclosing your personal affairs to anyone, including Mrs. Fleming. Please come out.
All right, then.
So, you know what happened then? I was on my way back from the post office, having picked up the cactus and some books. It was quite an awkward package, heavy too, and when I got to your door, I dropped the cactus and your paper. Forgive me.
I needed that paper to prove a theory and prevent a crime. Your actions were rather disruptive. Your
Damn it.
clumsiness carrying the post is matched only by the clumsiness of your romantic gesture.
Oh, it's true. I am useless with this sort of thing. I'm not even sure if Mrs. Fleming noticed.
Hang on, bud.
As in most things in life, truth is the answer. Cease with the obtruse signals and anonymous gifts, and simply talk to the woman. What is the worst that can happen? She rejects you, and you are freed from this endless purgatory.
That... Yes, you are correct, of course. I do have a slight tendency to overthink things.
Same.
So, at last, we return to the matter of the paper. I'm investigating a string of burglaries. Did you perhaps read of any before the edition was spoiled?
I don't recall, but you're welcome to read our copy for yourself.
You had an issue of The Strand here all along?
Well, naturally. I am a bookseller. I have a subscription to every magazine and newspaper in London.
So you ought to be familiar with the concept of burying the lead.
Oh no, my apologies, Mr. Holmes. I'll make it up to you however I can. I am an expert on obscure languages and translation and
Yes, okay. Just give me the paper.
All right, don't hurt yourself. The Strand. September 28, 1882. Locals at the port of London had a rude awakening last night, with loud bangs and thick red smoke disturbing the peace. Merchant ship Moskva had docked at Pier N3 in the early evening, en route to Europe, when it was rocked by several concussive explosions. The Port Authority is yet to comment on the incident, and it is unknown if any crew members were on board at the time. Eyewitnesses report seeing saltpeter leaking into the river, but with the area still off limits to workers and the public, it may be some time before we have a full account of what transpired.
Come, Dr. Watson. Let us put this matter behind us.
Farewell, Mr.
Investigation
Barnes.
scene
I hope to
completed.
hear good news about you and Mrs. Fleming.
See you around, men.
let me know if there's any way I can make it up to you. Tell you what, tomorrow's edition of The Strand is on me.
Come on, Watson.
Well, that was an utter waste of time.
An assassination did seem rather unlikely.
There was supposed to be another burglary. I was certain of it. Something you wish to say, Doctor?
No. Well, only that you have a remarkable faculty for deduction and pattern recognition. And that perhaps, if ill applied...
I see things that are not there.
Yes.
Or you will.
It is London. There will always be burglaries. Doesn't have to mean anything.
So it seems. Forgive me. Without something to occupy my mind, I turn into an entirely different animal.
Which brings us back to my news from earlier. I think I have a case for you, a real one.
Truly?
Indeed. Though perhaps not as thrilling as your stories from Cordona. A patient of mine, Captain Stenwick, told me that his servant disappeared. I said I knew just the man to help. What do you say?
Oh, Watson.
Yes, I know it's not the most tantalizing mystery, nor the story to launch my writing career. But...
It's brilliant. Let's go.
Oh, good. Well, his house is nearby. Come.
All right. Cool. Off to Stenwick's mansion. The ugly beige suit, the worst suit in the game, is just awful. Extraordinary. I just realized there's a pun with Watson's overcoat with hat. Hat's what I'm talking about. All right, come on, guys. Ah, the gate is open.
Not much further now.
Look at this.
Is this lousy attitude of yours because of my altercation with Inspector Lockhart? Did he put you up to this?
Sir, the inspector has nothing to do with it. I'm telling you the same thing I tell anyone seeking a missing person.
Good day, gentlemen. Forgive the intrusion. Captain Stenwick, this is my colleague Sherlock Holmes, the consulting detective I told you about.
I have a crusher
still
hat.
Professional. This useless officer refuses to do anything about Kimmy here, my missing servant. What was your name again? I shall be certain to inform your superiors.
Sergeant Ruffles, and it's my superiors who made this decision, sir.
Hate to ruffle this guy's feathers. Okay.
Have there been other disappearances lately?
Of course, here and there. But when life is tough and opportunity comes knocking, you can't blame those who answer.
Why has the police department decided not to help?
We investigate murders, thefts, fraud, arson, real crimes. A servant walking away from his master is not our highest priority. That said, if we find Kimahia breaking the law, we'll be sure to notify Captain Stenwick. Now, I must be off. Best of luck in you, sir.
You heard that, didn't you? The way that man spoke to me. I shall need your written testimony. Then we can lodge a complaint.
Captain, perhaps Mr. Holmes' time is better spent learning about your servant, so that he may begin his investigation.
Ah, yes. Quite right. Fire away.
May I see your servant's bedroom?
His shack is in the garden. You can't miss it.
Did you search the room?
Of course, but only to check he wasn't lying dead inside. Everything seemed normal at a glance.
Did Kimahia make off with anything of value?
Heavens, no. I would have mentioned it to Sergeant Ruffles.
Still, he must
Sergeant
have
Ruffles.
some honest person.
No. I kept his wages in my safe. For security.
All right, Captain. I think I have enough to get started. We shall first take a look around the mansion.
Go ahead. I'll be here, mentally drafting my complaint.
Investigation scene found. There's a hat. Mine is better. Okay, we have a headless statue. I found the head. What is that? Why does it glow? Okay.
Chewing tobacco.
You see, I feel like, Sherlock, you really should be involved in this glowing symbol with the tentacles on the ground here. Nothing about the head, huh?
A shoe print, roughly size 11, with a worn-out sole. These are a workman's boots.
Okay. Oh! Well, you see, that would have been very useful. The green circle means I can concentrate on it. Okay. Like so.
Looks like a knee print. Someone knelt here. The amount of chewing tobacco suggests they were waiting a while.
Amazing, Mr. Holmes. To read the ground like an open book.
Whoa! Okay. What is this? What do I do with you? Okay. He can use imagination to reconstruct the past. I need to create imagination nodes. Okay. All right.
Impressive. The sack of grain retained the shape of an impact. Someone hit their head here. A small navy spyglass.
I guess I'm taking that. Okay.
Clothes made of Hessian. Is Stenwick really so miserly? Is this a Tanifar, a Maori water spirit, or something else?
Either way, it's giving me chills.
No air coming through it. The ashes are long since cold.
And what do we have here?
A heavy chemical odor. Lend me your nose, Doctor.
I'll give it back shortly.
I'll never forget that smell after my time in Afghanistan. That's an opioid, Mr. Holmes, a narcotic.
Button chops. The remains of a meal.
All right.
A Maori nose flute. Ngurus, they're called.
What happened here?
A scrap of Hessian. These were sturdy boxes. It would have required a serious blow to break them.
Might have involved that person's face when they hit that other piece.
The rag reeks of smoke. Someone plugged the chimney. Could have left these tracks. They seem fresh.
Okay, so what do you have to say for yourself?
The door to your garden has an interesting lock.
Yes, I have uncommon locks on every door of my mansion. It makes them harder to pick. Kimmy here and I both had a set of keys.
I'll need to borrow them.
No, you'll need to do what I tell you to do. Examine the garden. Are you joking? Why would I know this? Where on earth are you going with this?
Interesting. Whoa! That's intense. Oh, man. It had to be somebody else who was stealing his key.
Surveilling from afar, the intruder waited for a window of opportunity. When Kimahir went to sleep, the man crept up to the shack and slipped narcotics down the chimney pipe, then blocked it with a cloth. Kimahir inhaled the sedative and fell into a deep sleep. The intruder tried to move him, but the man was heavier than expected. The intruder fell on the sack and dropped his spyglass. In order to transport the servant, he had to use the cart. The final challenge was opening the garden door. Luckily for our intruder, Kimahir had the key in his shack.
Remarkable. It makes total sense.
But why? Why would anyone do this?
Truly, there is no better evidence of a man's nature than the way he treats those who help him. And you, sir, are a brute. The cruelty of your ignorance about the Maori people, your selfish attitude to a man's kidnapping.
The point is, Captain, we're telling you this for a reason. The intruder fled through the garden door, and we need a key to follow his trail.
Well, then you should have led with that. Here you go. I hope you'll return soon with good news.
And the way to
in the
remove those mutton
meantime,
chops.
Please teach your companion the art of brevity.
I have never briefed. I'm Sherlock Holmes. Okay, we have a key. Let's go. Come on, Watson. I can't be briefed with a hat like this. I would never take this hat off. This might be his permanent hat now. Yeah. Oh, cool. All right. To Cthulu vision. I knew it all along. I found the cart.
Sturdy rope, professionally tied in a Portuguese bowline. This knot is often used by sailors to create a bosun's chair. Wheels picked up grass along the way. Kimahir's cart, I gather.
Ah! He dropped his wallet.
A strange substance. I have my suspicions based on the color and consistency, but would you care to hazard a guess, Doctor?
Roy Soulsby.
Could that be the name of our man?
Well, it's odorless, but from the way it absorbs water, I'd say saltpeter.
Then we're in
Ah!
agreement. Well done.
Which did cause an explosion recently. Hmm. Okay, the abductor is a sailor, which would explain partially what went on with the dock. A particular knot, a spyglass, and the footprints of a working man's boots, they all add up to one conclusion: Kimahir's abductor is a sailor. The Port of London. Kimahir's trail leads to the Port of London. We now know that Kimahir's kidnapper is most likely a sailor, that his wallet bears saltpeter residue, and that there was a recent saltpeter accident in the Port of London. Everything suggests that to find Kimahir, we must head to the Port of London. There is no time to lose. It is vital we find a cab to the Port of London immediately.
The strand
go.
proved not so useless after all. The saltpeter accident. Doctor, do you recall?
The Port of London, of course. The footwear, the spyglass.
Indeed. We shall need to take a cab there.
Hi, how are you?
The Port of London, please. I will show you where to stop.